anybody listening. I'll turn down my desktop audio a little bit here. Make sure I have my mic turned on. Looks like I do. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Probably gonna be kind of a short little stream today. I just wanted to come on here while I finish working on this sorcerer character. It's the last of these spellcaster models that I'm gonna be working on before I move on to working on some animals. So yeah, it's mostly blocked out. Currently I'm just gonna spend some time adding some details with my ornament brush, and then hopefully getting this model posed and post-processed. So that's kind of the plan for today. Let's see, I'm just opening up my ornamentation brush here. I have a bunch of these, and I've really been getting a lot of use out of them for these sorcerer models, which has been super fun. Mostly what I've been doing is getting the models pretty much all blocked out, and then going in and doing the little embroidered flourishes, and then right at the end going in and doing some cloth fold sculpting. That tends to be the order that has gotten me the best and cleanest results. So that's what we're going to be doing here. I have a bunch of these brushes, so I'm just going to load in most of them here. I wish that the place that I got them from had just put them all together, but they decided to break them up into some sort of categories. I can kind of see what they were going for, but it's kind of a pain to have to load them all in every time, but oh well. Here we are. Okay. This outfit doesn't currently have any sort of belt. I'm kind of trying to decide if I want to change that, or if I want to maybe just do like one closure here. I think that's what I might do, actually. So I might, before I go in these higher subdivision levels, put on some of these snaps. Do I want to do snaps, or do I want to do something more exciting? I feel like he's already got some snaps. So I might do some sort of like belt situation. No, we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna keep it simple. I might do more of an ornate like button situation though, rather than just a simple snap, just to make it look like he's a little fancier. So we're gonna do this fastener. No, I changed my mind one more time. Gonna do this. We're gonna add in a cube. I like these cubes because the geometry is super easy. I don't have to really go in and change it much. So we're gonna do more of like a quite a strap, but not quite a button. More of like a buckle situation. Just gonna tuck it in here, and then I can go in with Z Modeler and just move this edge here so that it looks like it's more of like a strap with a rounded edge. And then we'll add a subdivision. And now when I subdivide, yeah, I should be able to go in and just crease these so they stay sharp, but not super sharp. They'll just be, so they'll still look like they're kind of a soft edge, but they won't look all mushy. I guess that's kind of the best word for it. Yeah. And we'll move it a little bit more, just to give it a little bit more of an organic look. I might actually use snake hook for it though. Just to really make it look like it's soft fabric. Do a little polish by features here, or maybe not. Oh, I see. This is the part where I get so fussy. But I feel like that's just because I want it to look good. But what it ends up doing is making the models take way longer than maybe they need to. Okay, let's try this. Polish by features. I'm gonna crease this edge. Not the whole thing, but just to keep it like a little sharper. There we go. All right, I like that pretty well. Now we can add a little buttonhole to it. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and delete lower subdivisions on this one. I don't need that very lowest subdivision, I don't think. And then it'll let me use IMM brushes on it. Okay, so we've got our little buttonhole here. And then on the other side, I'm going to make a copy and just mirror it. I'm gonna make this one a little shorter, I think. And let's see, what is the situation I'm trying to make here? Okay, yeah. I'm trying to do like a button, so let's do like this type of thing maybe. I don't want to make it too big. I don't know. This has been a project of second guessing myself. All of these spellcaster models that I've made, I have just I've gone in, I've blocked them out, and I've decided, nope, I'm gonna scrap it and I'm going to do something else. So, you know, this button might be subject to change, but I like it for now. Okay. Because I just don't want to make anything around the waist and then just have it be like covered up by this bag. So I think that'll be good. Okay. On to the fun part. Now, I'm trying to decide if I want to go in and do these designs by hand or if I want to do more of a more of like a tessellating repeating pattern. But we're gonna start with this and make sure symmetry is turned on before I get too much further into this, because that is always just a travesty when you get super far into doing something intricate and then suddenly you realize that it's not being mirrored on the other side. Let's just make sure my streams are all up and working here. Oh, and Shira's here. Hey, a couple people are here. I don't know why your chat isn't populating on my multi-chat, but hi, it's good to have you. I thought the music was a cat meowing. I was looking around trying to find it. Oh. Dang, well. Let me know if that's annoying and I can potentially see about changing it. But you came here from the M3DM Discord. That's awesome. I am happy to have you. Okay, let me make sure. Let me see why my chat's not populating here in my overlay. Or it's populating in my overlay. I have like a little pop out for OBS that should have the chat populating. So I can see what all you guys are saying. But if it doesn't work, I will just have you guys also up. I'm not really using any references right now, so it's not a huge deal. So let me just pull up all of the chats here. Okay. That should be good. Welcome to everyone who's watching. And I am a big fan of backseat sculptors. So if you, as I'm working, have any like suggestions or things you think would look good or want me to try out, you know, let me know and I'll give them a whirl. I'm just kind of picking a vibe for this first one. I need to just like pick something and start. Okay. I love this little ornament brush. And like I said, I've been getting so much mileage out of it recently with these spellcasters. Something about having like a stiff collar and pretty embroidery just says like wizard to me. gonna go for mostly these like kind of sharp leafy designs on this one. I think they're really pretty. I also gave this character these draconic scales around their face. So I'm going for just kind of like sharper elements in this design. And so I think I like that these leaves are kind of adding to that a little bit. They're not like explicitly draconic or anything, but I think they match the vibe pretty well. Sure, if you're still around when I finish this model, remind me and I will pull up the necromancer tiefling that I made last week. She has so many little bits on her. I am not liking this so far. And I was definitely thinking of you while I was doing all of that. Let's see. Okay, for some reason I'm not loving this, so I might re-evaluate here. I have a few other alphas that I could potentially work with, that I could drag onto here. That sounds sick. I love it. She's so fun. I looked at a lot of references of like kind of Victorian era looking like designs. So she is very much giving like kind of, I don't know if you've like played any Candela Obscura, the like Critical Role like kind of Victorian era mystery game, but she was really giving that as I was working on her. She's like she has afternoon tea, and then after that she gets up and summons the dead to make them fight for her. It was kind of the vibe. No, I think we're gonna go back to these. I think I just need to be a little bit more intentional about the choices that I'm making here. Okay, I kind of like this a little bit more. I feel like sometimes I need to just like zoom out and look at what I'm making and just like simplify a little bit. I do also like though that I kind of have a good amount of control with this alpha, so I can like make them bigger as they go. Tia 2, Resurrection of 4, exactly. But like that was another model too where I like what am I doing here? Where I started it and I was like, this, I feel like I have a good idea of what I'm trying to do here, but I got like several hours in and was like, nope, this ain't it. So I kind of just like deleted all my subtools and started from scratch. And it was definitely the move, but whenever I do that, I'm always like, oh well. Sometimes you go in and you know exactly what you want to make. Like I said, I don't know if you guys were on when I was talking at the beginning, but I'm hoping this week to at least get started on some of the models for my familiars and beasts collection that I'm going to start working on. And and those generally, when I'm working on an animal model, it's really nice because you just like, if I'm gonna make a cat, I just sit down and I make a cat, and I don't really have to make too many artistic decisions. I don't really have to worry about like, you know, is this a good design element that I came up with? Does the design look cohesive? I want to make cat, I make cat. Classic delete your art moment. Yeah, truly. Sometimes you just have to. You have to realize that, you know what, this wasn't the vision. Step back, being like, why am I feeling so frustrated? Oh, it's because I don't like what I'm making. And Percy joined. Hi, Percy. Finally getting around to finishing up this wizard, or this sorcerer model that I started a couple days ago. I've just been so distractible this week. But we're getting her done. I'm gonna inflate this part so that it actually collides with the rest of the mesh. And this part, I think I'm gonna inflate so that it goes up. I don't think I'm gonna inflate it that much, but a little bit more. And then just kind of move it forward. I think that's the shape I wanted. No, this thing is supposed to go on top of it. Okay, so maybe I don't inflate it. Maybe I just move this part over top. There we go. Just kind of got to squish it around. The pacifist version of bending things to your will. Okay, I love that. I might put a few more little things on it, but I'm mostly gonna leave it the same at this point. I kind of like this one. It kind of looks like a little flame. Little fleur-de-lis situation here. Just like a little something. Make sure back face mask is turned on. My life got better when I added backface mask to my ZBrush UI. Okay, I like that. I think I'm gonna add a little something to the cuffs here on the sleeves. I think, hold on, let me look at my references here. I had a few things that I pinned on Pinterest. But I think I'm gonna do the embroidery at like the top here, rather than right at the wrist. Yeah, I think that's gonna look better. That's the type of thing where like you would think it's like a style choice, but really if you don't make it look right, it's not gonna look right. Let's see. I think these ones will probably look good. That's what I had. Yeah. I might mask off the area around it. These can easily get to be looking a little garish looking, but I just want them to show up on the print, you know? But also, like, when you're a wizard, like, why would you not be super extra in everything, including the design of your clothing? That's what I think. And then I think I am trying to decide if it needs like, no, it's good. It's good, it's fine. Okay, I was also gonna add a little something to the shoes here, make them a little more exciting. I wanted them to look pretty like clean, so I didn't add a ton of like extra like borders to stuff. I don't know if that was a mistake, but we're just gonna kind of vibe here and see what we think as we go on. Just making sure that this is looking good. Okay. Go back to my Pinterest board here. Okay. I think I might just add like something kind of loopy and swirly right on the front here. Oh, yeah, that's gonna look good. Oh, honestly, does it only need that? Okay, I might actually go back on what I just said and extrude just the littlest lip here. Just so that just because I think that alpha that I just threw on there will look so nice and crispy if there's just a little bit for it to look like it's kind of coming out of. And then I'm going to make it this gold color. Excuse me. I've been drinking bubbles today. Also, to any of you nerds watching, if you haven't had any water to drink today, go drink some water. Go do it now. Okay, literally, where's the one that I was just using? Is it this one? Yeah. And then we're gonna add just a few little flourishes just to kind of fill it in. Not a ton of stuff though. We're not gonna go overboard. Don't go overboard, Natalie. Okay, I like that a lot though. I'm gonna make these two a little bit bigger. Again, just so they fill in the space a little bit more. I don't want to draw a ton of more attention. Okay, I kind of love that. I was expecting to spend a lot more effort on these shoes, but I think they're kind of fine. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this little alpha up here on the coat as well, just to kind of unify it all. Damn, that looks cool. Thanks! Appreciate you. I have just found that these little flourishy alphas add so much to these designs so quickly. Like, they really go from looking like they're missing something to looking like they're, like, ready to go quite quickly. I mean, I feel like this design is really giving, like, school, like, magical school uniform. How many more minis are left to do in this set? Okay, so that's a good question. This is the last one of 5. So what I'm doing for these models is I'm gearing up to launch a Patreon in a few months. And when I do that, I want to kind of have the first few months of models ready to go. And so this is going to be either the first month or one of the first few months of models to come out. It's going to be wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks. So just like a few little spellcaster models that'll be like the first pack. That's kind of what the vision is. Currently. So yeah, this is the last one of these. I'm really trying to gear up to focus on Patreon once I launch it. However, I am spending a good amount of time this summer traveling. So I just want to be ready to locked and loaded with a good number of models, just like ready to go for that. You know what actually this is giving is the Shiz University uniforms in the new Wicked movie. That's what it's giving. I think it's partly the color scheme. But we'll see if we feel like that. I'll turn the poly paint off in a sec and we can decide. Alright. I feel like he's looking good. Gonna add a little more something to this bag. This is the same bag I used on that other fire genasi from last week. I did not feel like reinventing the wheel with this shoulder bag. So I just copy and pasted it. I am going to give it a little something different, just in like how I do the embellishments. Not super different though. Come on now. What do you take me for? Trying to decide actually what direction I want to take this bag in. I might actually strap some stuff to the sides of this, honestly. Let's do... let's do a little pocket. Because this is a sorcerer. And if I know anything about sorcerers, it's that they do not carry around a book bag full of books like some sort of nerd. jump start on the finished edges. I'm currently playing a sorcerer in the Curse of Strahd game that I'm in, and I really kind of played up the she's not some sort of nerd aspect of her personality. Potentially to like a cartoonish level, I might kind of backtrack on some of the she's dumb choices I made for her. Percy, if you're in the chat, I love Elena, but I don't know that she deserves to be as silly as I made her. Okay. Hello, bit late. What are you working on? I'm working on this guy, a draconic bloodline sorcerer. Really dapper looking fellow. Working on putting some details onto this model before I take it into Character Creator and put some, or pose it. So you have not missed a ton. I'm adding a pocket currently. Group, single poly. I'm being, like I always am, apparently, a little fussy. Hey, is it just me or does that look great? Okay. Poly group, a single poly. I really like how what I just did on the pocket looked, so I'm going to do the same thing where I just deflate it a little bit to give it the look that it is actually a pocket that has an interior to it. Okay, and then I think on the back I might actually strap a couple potions to this bag. I feel like that'd be kind of fun. If you've been here before, you will recognize my insert potion brush. Maybe, unless I've made up that I've used it on stream before, which is possible. All right, actually turn off poly paint here for a sec. One little ZBrush tip that it took me a while to find out, but it might be obvious to everyone else, is that if you're using, I like when I make my insert multi-mesh brushes to have the things poly painted already, especially if it's something like a potion where, like, you know, it's pretty like generic to just like have like a red one and a blue one and a green one. You can have the poly paint turned on the model if you have poly paint turned off on your subtool when you insert the mesh. So if I have poly paint turned on, you can see like I've got poly paint here or on these like buckles and on the bag. If I put in the potion now, it'll just be the active poly paint color. But if I turn off poly paint and I insert the potion, now when I turn poly paint back on, it'll be green, which is fun. I just gotta remember to turn it back off. wanted to practice self-care, I would add to this IMM brush potions that already have like a little holder onto them. But not today. Just be a little fussier for just a few minutes here. Okay, and then I think if I take out this edge loop, insert single edge loop. Loop, 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 loop. You guys like my sound effects? Okay, let's see if I can add a bevel onto them. Yeah, alright. Sure. We take those. I like to use tricks where I can make a mesh look both soft and still clean, right? Because like if you have like a leather bag that is like, you know, a somewhat soft material, but not one, but like one that is still like kind of constructed, it's not gonna, like, it's still gonna have clean lines, but it's not gonna be like, it's still gonna have clean lines even though it's kind of a like a floppy soft material. So that's kind of why I do silly little things like add a bevel, because I just want it to be both clean and floppy looking. Okay. I'm gonna make this brown. Okay. Very cool. I'm actually gonna get rid of subdivisions again for just a minute, because I'm gonna bring some scrolls into the situation. Let's see. These are all assets that I made ages ago that, you know, as long as they continue to serve me, I will continue to use them. Some of them are not my favorite anymore, but some of them still are perfectly serviceable. Like this scroll, if I made it again today, it would look so different, but it looks like a scroll. You can definitely tell what it is. I think it looks good. So I'm not gonna make a new one. Sometimes I do just add a little bit of poly paint to it though. I did have poly paint on the IMM brush, so I could have used that trick that I was literally just talking about. But and curved. Just make it look like it's being kind of shoved into this pocket against its will. Alright. What else should I put in this magic bag? Question for the class. Not the class. Ew. Don't pretend I didn't say that. Okay, another question for anyone who's watching. Does this person need a belt? I was gonna say no, but I can't decide. And it's not that serious, but I do need to make a decision. And is it even a model if it doesn't have a stupid little buckle on it? What purpose does the buckle serve? No one knows. But here it is. Here against its will. Okay. I'm gonna put on... Oh, hey buddy. That was unnecessary. No one wants to see that. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do some little cloth folds here. I feel like this coat needs like just a little bit more construction off the back. I think that's why I'm wishing it had a belt. But I think maybe if I just add like I think if I just make it look a little bit more constructed, it will help a fair bit. I'm gonna mask off most of this because I don't want... I'm about to do some squishing around with the model, and I don't want anything except for the back to get deformed. Because I just feel like if I give the shoulders a little bit more of like a panel look, so that it looks like the seam is where the shoulder should be, and then it's just tailored in the back, I think that's gonna look a lot better. And then maybe we do some buttons. Do the old duplicate, delete higher subdivision levels so that we can do an IMM brush here. Do some more snaps. Do 2 on the top. Is that where snaps usually are? Hold on. It is. Kind of. I'm gonna call it close enough. Good job, Nat. You know how stuff looks. Okay, I think that actually that looks a lot better. I am going to, before I forget, split hidden. How many subdivision levels does it have? 5. Be a little bit fussy for a second here. Complete. Alright, we're gonna save. Save as and merge down. Name a more iconic duo. That's a very niche ZBrush joke, so. Alright, let's check on TikTok here. How are we doing? I don't know. Maybe alright. It's hard to say. Okay. 5, 5. Wonderful. Merge down. Okay. So the last thing is I think I just need to put something on the elbows. It doesn't need to be anything particularly exciting, but they need something. Maybe this one, it's a little bit circular. I don't know. Just feels like it's looking too smooth here. And that's probably because it's like a regular coat is gonna have a seam. But I'm not really sure what to do with it on this model. Again, I'm being way too fussy, and it's possible that I just need to put in some fabric folds and then it will look better. So let's just try that real quick. Excuse me. Hold on. Hold the phone. Why did we get rid of 2 subdivision levels? That ain't right. Okay, we're gonna go back here right before we merge down. Just make them elbows patches from a different coat. Yeah, I think that if the fabric folds don't make me happier, I will put some sort of patch on them. I feel like it will have kind of an academic look We have 5 subdivision levels and 5 subdivision levels. Maybe if I go all the way down to the lowest. Because I feel like generally, like a sport coat will have some sort, or like a tweed jacket might have some sort of like elbow patch. See, why did we get rid of my subdivision levels there? This is why we saved before we merged down. What I'm trying to do here is merge these little buttons that I just put on a copy of the trench coat onto the actual coat, but I want them to merge down and keep all 5 of their subdivision levels. Usually, if they both have the same number of subdivision levels, it will work, but for some reason ZBrush is getting mad at me when I'm trying to do this. And it's getting rid of 2 of them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. Whatever, I might just give up. And just leave them as a separate subtool. I can always put them on at the end. We're just waiting for my computer to do what I want it to do. Okay. I'm gonna delete this copy here. Okay. I don't think we need teeth. Alright, fabric folds. I made these pants kind of tight. I'm not gonna apologize. I might make them a little looser though. Just so that it's clear that they're pants. Because they'll be awfully small. I'm finally back to 3D printing again. It's been pretty cold here in Seattle the past few weeks, and I haven't even tried to print anything with my resin printer. But I really need to get the stretch goals printed for RPG Essentials 2. So that I can keep my promise that everything is test printed before it goes out. So I finally have stuff on the printer right now. I'm hoping that I can get it all test printed before it goes out next week. these pants a little bit baggier. I'm not going to worry too much about the backs and the sides of the pants because they're really going to be covered by the robe. I really like that I went for the slit in the back. Give good range of motion. For those somatic spell components. Okay. I really like this model. Like, I like it, of course, with the poly paint and everything, but wow, I just turned the poly paint off and like, I somehow like it even more. I love it when that happens. I hope that everyone in their day-to-day life experiences that feeling in some capacity. Because it's really the best. When you make something and you just look at it and you're like, wow, I like that a lot. Never apologize for making your maze look cool. It's great to hear you were 3D printing. Yeah, I'm really, really glad because also my gray pile was looking a little small. Not to brag, but okay. I think that's looking a little better. Hopefully we've achieved baggy and not lumpy. Or not baggy, but just like not super tight. I don't know. Not like, we don't want them to look like leggings. I'm gonna go. Sorry, couldn't see the necromancer, but have a good night, everyone. Have a good night, everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna post all of these spellcasters at some point in the next 48 hours or so. So fear not, you will see the necromancer. But yeah, have a good night. See you next time I see ya. bar just looking lumpy. I think I overdid it on the sculpting. We're gonna smooth and try again here. Alright, that is much better. And then we're going to do a little something on the front here. Just so it doesn't look completely flat. Sure. ZBrush is being a little bit laggy right now. I'm not really sure why. I might close some stuff on my computer here. Let's see. I don't have a ton going here. But I could probably stand to just close some tabs, maybe. But if it stays lagging like this, I might restart ZBrush, but we'll see. Because it is really unpleasant to sculpt with even a little bit of lag. I could also go to all lowest subdivision levels for everything except the coat. That might help as well. Normally, if I'm sculpting on with this many polys. It's like 5.3 million? It's no problem. However, I think with OBS running, my laptop kind of starts to protest a little bit. Again, I don't want to do lumpy here, but the larger the folds look, the stiffer and thicker the fabric is gonna look. So it's just about striking a balance. forgot to turn symmetry on. Alright. I think we've got the basics down for these fabric folds. I will go back in and fine tune them a little more when I am done posing. But for now, I think it is time to get into Character Creator and do a pose on this guy. Alright, so first we will copy paste so that we still have our T-pose model when we're done with this. We go in and we rename all of our subtools. What is the deal with this hair? What did I end up doing with it? Okay, I'm gonna keep these separate subtools for now. Curly hair, and this one is short hair. Okay. Going to make the boots, 2 separate subtools. I might not pose the bag in Character Creator, just because I don't want it to get super deformed. And it's got a lot, well, it doesn't have a ton of polys, but it's just, I don't think I need to pose it in there. Okay. I don't actually have a ton of accessories on this guy, so we're chilling on a lot of this. Okay, so if we do all low, gonna save. I would really love it if you decided not to crash. Well, you're simply trying to save my project. Okay, very cool. Good job. Alright, then we will go to GOZ, clear cache files. And then ZBrush pose tools, resize. I think I want to do kind of a fighting stance with this model. I might actually bring in the fire, the like handheld flame asset. Let's actually do that now. I know I just saved, but I have this handheld fire asset that I put in a couple other spellcaster models. And I think it will be good for here as well. So I think the last one I used it in was this Fire Genasi Wizard. I actually updated it a little bit for this this lady, so I think it looks a little better now. Oh my gosh, I keep yawning. I think it looks a little better now than the last time I used it. This song's kind of putting me to sleep. Really just taking our time opening up this other document. Alright, while I'm waiting for this, I'm just gonna go through my other streams here and make sure that nothing is timed out due to inactivity. ZBrush also has the option to import all of the tools from a different project into the one that you're currently working on, which is a way to bring in assets without having to like save and close your current document and then open up another one and then go back. But I don't like doing that. I get overwhelmed if I have too many tools in my ZBrush document. So I will just go hunting for it and then come back. There we go. Oops. Make sure our 3D gizmo is pointing in the right direction. Kind of is. I really like this flame effect. I think it's very cool looking. I am gonna make 2 of them. And just see where that gets me. I might not end up putting one in each hand, but if I do, I will have them at least, so. Flame right. Okay. Alright, I think this is ready for action. I'm gonna save one last time. Now that I've got this new asset in here. I probably don't need to be saving the undo history, honestly. Speed it up here. Okay. So I will hide these accessories for the moment. Make sure I just have visible the stuff that I want to bring into Character Creator, and then send all of those to Character Creator. I am about an hour and 45 minutes into this stream. I think that this will probably take a few minutes to transfer these subtools over, so I think this is a good time for me to take a short little break and come back when it's had time to do a good long think. So yeah, I'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes, I think. Yeah. Be back soon. Back here. Now, I said, while it does that, I'm gonna go take a short break. Under the assumption that while I was gone, it would do the thing that I asked it to. It has not done that. Not quite sure why. Let's see if we can figure it out here. So cleared the cache. Let's see why it's not starting up Character Creator. Sometimes when this happens, there's like a little error message that has popped up somewhere and is inexplicably hidden. I'm not really seeing that that's the case here. I did the resizing. quite sure why we're not starting up character creator here. But honestly, if we're starting to be buggy with this model, I can always just start on another one and spend the next 45 minutes or so working on that. Because I do want to stay on here for another 45 minutes or so, but I really don't feel like battling this on stream. So I think that since I'm having trouble with this, I'm just gonna save. And we're gonna start on our next project here. So the next model that I am gonna get started working on is actually gonna be the first one that I'm working on for my next Kickstarter project, which will be Beasts and Familiars. I'm really excited about this one. I really like making animals. They're just such fun exercises in like looking at anatomy, looking at references, and just like making the thing until it's done, and it's really satisfying to do. I have a bunch of references here to start on making a cat familiar. In the 2 DnD games that I'm in, I play spellcasters. In one, I play a wizard, and in the other one, I play a sorcerer. And my wizard character has a cat familiar that she summons named Jazargo. And so I love a cat familiar, so I'm excited to start here. One place that I am going to start that ZBrush has for, as like some of these built-in, like documents and tools and everything is, I believe they're under projects. This, here we go. This Zizu folder. It basically has just like a bunch of animals pre-made out of Z-spheres. They're like really basic, but they're nice because they start you out with a palette that has like all of your base parts rather than having to do it from scratch. So I'm gonna start with this cat one here. Like I said, it's like, it's super, like, as basic as you can get, in terms of like block out, but it just saves me from having to like insert all of these spheres and everything. And so I can just kind of go in here, move some stuff around. Like, I don't want the tail to be this shape to start out. So I can just kind of move this stuff around pretty easily, just to get like the base mesh that I want. It's kind of like starting with a you know, human base mesh for one of my human models. I think the fact that it's called Zizu is like really funny. And look at these little feeties. They're so silly. I'm gonna start talking. Wow, I have not even made it look like a cat yet, and I am already in baby voice. This might devolve quickly, folks. Okay, I'm not actually gonna mess with that too much because I will be sculpting the paw separately. This shoulder situation is kind of something else. can kind of, yeah, here we go, orient a little bit better. There we go. Move these out a little bit. Not a ton, but just so they're kind of differentiated. It's very funny that the back is so much higher than the front. I just find these little Zizu models so charming and silly. Okay. That's a little better. I'm not gonna focus on this too much, because I'm gonna basically start from scratch on the face. I'm just gonna kind of get everything kind of put where I want it to be. And alright, I think we're ready to start on this. It is so funny looking. Okay, so this, as it is right now, is not actually something that I can sculpt on. It's a part of ZBrush called Z-Spheres that is the like rigging setup. So I can't really stay here for any of the like sculpting part of this. So what I can do, oh, it's been a minute since I've done this. Let me see. I think it's in adaptive skin, and make adaptive skin. Z-Sphere preview completed. Okay, and then do it, please. Is that correct? No. Okay. I think now this is something that I can sculpt on. Yeah, okay. All right, we did it. Okay, I am going to, oh boy, guys, I don't know about this tail. I think I'm going to, well, okay, first things first, I'll get ahead of myself. These are all, there's like a lot of parts in here right now, so I'm going to separate out by body part. I don't know why this has subdivision levels, so we're gonna split hidden. So there's the torso, I'm gonna rename it this. I may or may not keep this tail. Probably what I'll do is, if I do decide to keep it, I'll just Dynamesh it and just keep it because it has a approximation of the shape that I want. But that pretty much sums up what I'm going to do with all of these parts. I'm going to pretty quickly just Dynamesh them. Yeah, yeah, we'll see how far I get into this model. I really am only going to stick around on stream for another 30 minutes or so. This is so funny. Okay, I'm going to get rid of... oh wow, okay. I see what you did. This is silly, and I'm going to get rid of it. I see why Z-Spheres did this from a rigging standpoint, but it is very funny to me. I'm definitely not going to use that. I'm going to sculpt the head, and then I will put eyeballs into the sockets. Okay. So we have all our parts. Oh, I don't know what to do with these legs. I might just... So what I have... Here, I'll show you what I have. I have in my asset library, I think, maybe I don't. Okay, actually, I don't think I do. Let's load tools from project. What I have is a dog, like wolf paw. Okay, character creator just started up. Sir, I'm so sorry, but you are late to this party. And it is over now. You're no longer invited. Okay. Goodness gracious. Okay, I'm not gonna get distracted. Okay, direwolf. Paw? Okay. Alright. Alright. We out here. We got this. Okay. So, obviously wolves and cats have different anatomy. But just like with the Z-Spheres cat, I think this is going to be a really good place to start. The one thing I am going to do first is Z-remesh these to a lower poly count. There's no reason why this paw needs to be 20,000 polys. What I might do with this one though is project the details onto it, because I really like the shape, and sometimes when you're Z-remeshing to get lower subdivision levels, the shape can get pretty deformed. And the reason why I care about the poly count of this is that when it comes time to, because I'm basically going to take these paws and just like stick them onto the model. It's not going to be super pretty or anything. Okay, actually that held its shape pretty well. I'm fine with that. And so when it comes time at the end to blend everything together, I want the lowest subdivision level to be pretty comparable to the lowest subdivision level on the rest of the cat, and that you know, by default is going to be pretty low resolution. So and like I said, this is obviously not a cat paw yet, but it is a good place to start. Oh, whoops. The Duke Claw would be on the inside. I do not have a cat. I have never had adult cats in my adult life. I've never really spent significant time with cats. So I'm not all that confident in knowing what things like cat paws, like I know what a cat looks like. I'm not like, you know, I wasn't born yesterday. But in terms of like I have a dog and I spend a lot of time looking at my dog. And so if you ask me to like sculpt my dog from scratch, like yeah, I would need a lot of references, but I feel pretty confident in my ability to get somewhere with relative ease. Like I think I could get to a point where you could be like, yeah, that looks like your dog. Without too much thinking hard. Not so for me with cats. I'm really going to be relying heavily on my references for this project. I mean, I rely heavily on my references anyway. I don't have them on screen, but I do have about 20 images pulled up next to me of various shapes and like anatomical features of cats. That I kind of looked around and found before I started the stream. At this point, I've sculpted enough animals to kind of know what I need to look at while I'm making stuff. Alright, I lied. She's done. All finished. Didn't it look great? Just kidding. We're not done. Don't worry. Okay, I think that whatever I end up on... So the images that I pulled up references of are of a type of cat called an American bobtail. I just looked up a bunch of pictures of cats and decided that that was kind of the one that I liked, I don't know, the look and general vibe of. So that is what I got pictures of. The problem with sculpting something like a cat or a horse or a wolf is that there's like a bunch of different kinds, and if you aren't a little bit more selective in what you're actually looking up images for, you're gonna get so many like competing like face shapes and anatomy references, and you're just gonna get kind of lost in the sauce, and it's not gonna be a fun time. So you kind of have to refine your search a little bit. And I searched American house cats, and or no, not American, domestic house cat breeds, and This is the one that I liked the look of the most in terms of what I think of when I think cat. So right now I'm going through and Z-remushing. So I took all of these individual shapes and I dynameshed them all together, so now they're one cohesive mesh. So rather than being able to like pull apart like the spheres from the cylinders and everything, now they're just like one continuous unit. And now I am left with 57,000 polys, which is way too high density for like this first step of sculpting, where I'm just basically like smushing it around and using clay buildup to like get the general shape and primary forms that I want. I'm looking for it to be like way lower poly. So now I'm using Z-remesher to kind of get it down to the level that I want, and I'm kind of smoothing as I go. So now I'm at 24k. I'm gonna try to get it down to like 4,000 or 5,000 points. Probably have to remesh a few times. It'll get faster as I go. Okay, down to 10. Do it like 2 more times and see how it looks. Now we're down to 4. I'm just gonna keep going. I might... See, the thing about cats is they have such lean muscles. They're like mostly fluff. So when I'm like doing this initial sculpt, I'm gonna be making it look like it's a very like lean, like lean and muscular creature. And then once I get the like physical forms to how I want them to be, then I will go in and I will build up the last step, which will be like the fur and the fluff, and the textures. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the body. And again, here, I'm actually going to add, I think this will be a helpful visual. I'm just gonna throw up one of my anatomy references on the screen here on my ZBrush palette, so you can kind of see the shape I'm going for as I'm doing each of these pieces. So I can add this to the texture palette. Add it to Spotlight. There we go. Make it a little smaller. I'm just gonna throw it up in the corner. So you can see I'm really starting from like the muscle shapes. When I'm doing these primary forms. So I just did the tail because it was not the most egregious, but Just seemed like a good place to start. Felt like it was kind of screaming at me, so I started there. Okay. We're already down to a pretty decent... I'm gonna go really low, see what it does. Okay. This might even be too low poly, but we're gonna go with it for now. No, it's not too low poly. It's good. Okay. Gonna give it a little bit of a chest here. Right now it kind of looks like it's wearing a turtleneck. Okay, and now I can kind of go in and start to like, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I don't want to get too fussy on like 2 body parts before I've started to like do anything. What happens if I dynamesh on the lowest resolution? Oh my god, that was great. I never do that. I'm like low resolution dynamesh on the default, which is 128, but I just dynameshed on 8, and look how I only had to Z-remesh once. Incredible. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. Okay, oof. She's thick, though. Okay, I spoke too soon, actually. Might not have been my fault, though. I'm gonna... Okay, so when I dynamesh now at a low resolution, it's still... Come on. Okay. Polish. Still gonna Z-remesh to half. I do want to keep these legs 2 separate pieces. It'll make posing way easier. I do think that the torso is a little bit too low poly. I want these to be all comparable density, because when I'm sculpting on fur later, it will make it much easier to be consistent on getting those textures to be a similar resolution. I am also probably pretty quickly here gonna make these feet part of the legs that they're a part of, as opposed to all one subtool that is just feet. Hey buddies, I'm making a cat. I don't know if you could tell. You missed the beginning of this where I was talking about how it's not my fault that its face looks like this. But yeah, we're going from... See, I don't like this. I feel like I don't need these. Silly little guys living in your house energy. I know. I have a silly little guy that lives in my house, but he's a dog that is cat flavored. Not flavored, that's in poor taste. He's a dog that has cat tendencies. Okay. Now when we Dynamesh. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to thicken these up just a little bit. Already we've got some decent primary shapes going here though. All right. Now the head is gonna be its own thing. Here, I'm gonna throw up. I'm not gonna throw up. I'm going to put onto this page another reference image. I'm actually gonna put 2 on here. Rip soup boy, so many puns. Stop. I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear. Hey buddy, how would you feel about swinging by my place and picking me up for Skull tonight? Okay, so I've got the front one. And then I'll add one more that's like a side view. Okay. Now I have a little bit more idea on screen of what I'm working with here. These ears are not too bad. I am gonna decrease the poly count a little bit. Again, just trying to get the mesh density to be more consistent. Sure, thanks buddy. I'll see you soon. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off here in not too long. Another 10 minutes or so. That's fine. Okay. FaceTime. So usually what I do when I'm sculpting an animal is I'll do like the top part of the skull, and then I will make a separate subtool for like the jaw and keep those pretty separate until the very end. Just because by keeping them separate, I can keep them looking much cleaner. and they won't get looking like mushy. All right. Okay. Now, that was the easy part. I'm gonna move this head up actually a little bit. I'm not gonna hide the ears for now. Just know I'm coming for them. Okay. In theory, this shouldn't be that hard. I've done it before. One thing that I have talked to, I think, most of my friends who've listened to me talk about art have heard me talk about this. What I refer to as the fear, which is this feeling that sometimes you get when you're going to start a project or something. When I used to tutor, I would talk about the fear, or I would talk about like the fear with my tutoring students for stuff even like starting a math problem or something, like an algebra problem. And it's just that feeling that sets in when you're going to start something and you know what you want it to look like, and you know that you should know how to do it, but you're just feeling a little anxious about it. And when that happens, you just gotta... The only way to beat the fear is to power through it, is what I've landed on. So that's what we're doing. We're naming the fear. And we are just gonna work through it. I actually am gonna take these off and import one that is not muscle. One thing that you can do with these background images is have them be not fully opaque. So what I will like to do sometimes when I'm working on a model like this is throw up a... I need to stop saying throw up. I will put up one of these reference images and have it be in the background as like a shape reference. It's not a catch-all. You still have to like think critically when you're done using this. But it is a really nice place to start when it comes to getting started on just like the primary shapes. Okay, and then I'm going to throw in a little sphere here. Cats have such little mouths. They're so small. Yeah, and I'm not gonna go so far as to make this its own whole sub-tool for the jaw, but I am gonna keep them separate, like meshes. And then I have another one that is more of a like head-on face rather than a profile. So yeah, there's like a bunch of references that like when I start on a model like this, I just know from the start that I'm gonna need. One of them is a side profile of the face. One of them is like a head-on of the face. Just so I can do this little exercise. Again, it's not like the be-all, end-all of like making these models. You know, you have to pay much more attention to like the planes of the face and such, but just as having like a starting point for like, this is how high up the eyes are, this is where the nose should be. It's just a really good way to do that. Because like now I just like have my roadmap kind of ready to go here. I keep trying to switch back and forth between these as though they're not the same subtool. Maybe I should make them separate subtools though, if that's what I keep trying to do. Follow your heart. 2 different subtools. That way I can remesh this one because it's not great topology. I don't know why I picked it, but oh well. One thing about cats is that they are predators. So, their eyes are very much facing forward on their head, which is great for me because that's easier to sculpt. Okay, it is 4:03. This guy is looking like this. Again, we're really early days with this model, so it'll look better eventually. Just trust me, bro. But I think that it is about time for me to hop off of this stream. And go get ready for my evening. Okay, even that, just a little bit of futzing looks better than it did like 2 minutes ago. I'm also going to put these feet on their designated legs. Excuse me, where's the back leg? Oh, here it is. Okay. One of my cats uses her small mouth to scream. It's her chosen form of communication. Amazing. Yeah, this guy is gonna be fairly fluffy when I'm done with him, so I'm just kind of trying to squish it into the right shape. Like I said, on screen here is only a handful of the, lot of reference images that I gathered for this, so this is not its final form, but yeah, another thing that I have learned after making like a good number of animals now is not to get too hung up on any one feature for too long. because it's just a really good way to really drive yourself crazy and also just end up with like a really squishy looking model that looks like just overworked. And it's also just a good way to get frustrated. So you can see I'm kind of like going through here, messing with one bit, moving on, messing with another thing, going back. So this model will kind of take shape over time. One thing that I've really been guilty of in the past is just getting really hung up on like the face, and just like zooming in way too far, trying to get really high poly right away, and just getting really frustrated. It really helps to have the reference that you're using like right up close though. Toe beans are the one thing I'd obsess with. Yeah, the problem with having a cat in a standing pose is that the toe beans are not really center stage, which maybe is a crime, and maybe I'll do multiple poses of this cat to appease the toe bean gods. That is a crime. I know. I don't want to be out here committing atrocities against cat kind. Cats have such funny little foreheads. Oops, that is far too much. Their little heads are so round. Like I said, I'm gonna be making this cat fairly fluffy, so I'm not feeling all that pressed about muscle anatomy, but I don't want to completely neglect these primary forms. But I did say that I was gonna hop off at 4, and it is currently 4:12. So I think, she's looking like a cat, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you zoom out, hey, look, pretty good. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna leave it today. I'm definitely gonna, you know, keep working on this. It may or may not be on stream. We'll see. Oh, Percy says I'm a hop off, get cast and swing by and grab you. Alright, see you soon, Percy. Yeah, anyone else who is has been hanging out this time, lurking, watching, I appreciate you. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me while I worked on. It's been a while since I've worked on like an actual like anatomy study like this. So yeah, I think this has been fun and chill and nice. So yeah, anyone who stuck around, thanks. And I will see you when I see you.